Yes.
And I had to get a color-coded bracelet.
Yes, like the one I'm wearing.
Yes, and you know who else did that? It's the Mexican cartel.
Okay.
Thank you for your time, and let's go, Brandon.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy late evening. What day are we on right now? Thursday. Happy Thursday evening, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining in. I hope that you guys can hear me okay. Again, you guys know I'm pretty new to this. I'm doing the best that I can. So thank you guys for your patience and your understanding. I wanted to come on today to kind of go over the last two trips that I've had. Recently, again, I was down there 2 times in a row, in the Del Rio area, the Del Rio sector area, and kind of wanted to go over, what I experienced there this time, some of the things that I found, and some of the things that I also just recently talked, about. I was a guest on, with Mark Anderson, who is with Stop the Presses. I was very thankful that he, had me on there as a guest, and just very appreciative of him. And so kind of wanted to talk about some of the things that we touched upon because I think it's extremely relevant and wanted to point some things out to you guys, give you guys some updates and also of course follow up with what's coming up next. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I have a few things here to present to you guys. The last two times that I've gone to Eagle Pass, this last time, of course, was for an event. I was very excited that my husband was able to come with me and got to see firsthand a little bit of what I get to do, the fun that I get to be involved in outside of the event. So and that was exciting for me personally. And he got to meet a lot of people that he hears me talk to and work with in person. So that was really good. For people who don't know, my husband is very shy, not shy, but he's quiet. He's not a political person. And he is not typically someone, I swear, half the time people think that my husband isn't even real. I promise he's not imaginary. He is very real, and I was very thankful that he was able to come with me this last time. Prior to that, I had spent again a few days down there in Eagle Pass and just again wanted to kind of highlight some of the things, show some of the footage. Some of you guys might have seen some of the lives that I did while I was down there, and some of the updates. One of the most notable things that I noticed these last two trips over there, specifically in the Eagle Pass area, was what appears to be a decrease in the enforcement of all badges, right? With the exception of course, Border Patrol. They are all over the place. They are doing the best that they absolutely can. And so I wanted to kind of present to you guys some of the videos in case you guys had not seen some of the lives that I did while I was down there, maybe a little bit of explanation. I do have my Facebook up, so if you guys do have any questions, I will try to read the comments as you guys post them. So if you have any questions during all of this, please feel free to ask, and I'll do my best to try to see it and respond to you guys. I hope that this won't go very long. I want to be respectful of everybody's time, so we will just go ahead and get right on in. Um, One of the first things that I came across, not this last trip, but the trip before that in Eagle Pass, I had noticed a difference. The National Guard that was stationed there, of course, I'm speaking about the Eagle Pass area near Bridge 1 and 2, and right next to the infamous Abbott container shipping container wall, and the concertina wire that has been placed there. I will say that every single time that I seem to go there, there is more concertina wire placed up in different areas. I did notice this last time that there was more concertina wire added along the reeds, where previous trips before I stumbled upon just massive amounts of evidence of crossings. Um, there and the trash and the debris that was left behind. This is the very same area that's that trip, I was, entertained by a state police who threatened to have me arrested, by the National Guard, for trespassing. It was a very interesting situation. And of course, I was respectful. I thought that it was quite funny considering, what else is crossing over there. So anyways, I wanna show you guys and I'm gonna also be showing you some of even though that this new concertina wire is up, what I found this last trip, which I think you guys, probably won't come as a surprise to any of you. However, it does highlight, I think, the ineffectiveness of our taxpayer dollars as it is being used, in this area. So let's get right into it. Let me try and find what I did was I uploaded some clips of my live videos to YouTube, another separate YouTube channel. I do have a Secure the Border YouTube channel if you guys are able to follow me on there. And I will also include that broadcast, that link to the YouTube in the comments of this Facebook. So this way you guys can also follow me there on YouTube, and that might also be more easy to share to others who are not on Facebook or other social media sites if you're trying to get this information out there, which please, 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 please do. Okay, let's see here. I am going to go with so this, of course, let me expand this for you guys. This was oh no, I did the opposite of what I was trying to do. I apologize. Okay, so this was, the ha okay, there we go. Again, I apologize, guys. I'm doing the best I can. Okay, so I'm gonna show this to you guys and kind of play this for you and kind of narrate as we go along. During the course of this trip, I spent the first day, pretty much the whole day we were out there. I had some wonderful men out there from Oklahoma who was providing security for me to make sure that I was safe and got back safely, and I'm greatly appreciative to them. During the course of this day, we had seen that we were able to actually see and count. We had seen over 100 people apprehended. This is one of the video clips. They were coming from, for those who are familiar with this area, or for those who are not, we're in the Eagle Pass area. This is prior to any of the international bridges. This right here that you see behind, you'll see the Border Patrol boat right there. There is a boat ramp. So there is no concertina wire, obviously, for obvious reasons, that goes across that boat ramp. And so a lot of the illegals crossing over the river right here will enter right in up through this boat ramp. Of course, we witnessed several coming right across using that boat ramp. And then towards this area, towards the right of it is what was new. The illegals coming over in this area, I would see coming from the left-hand side, which would be underneath the bridges and where the massive amounts of what I call reeds. I don't know what else to call them. They're like bamboo. I'm sure there's a technical name for it, but I'm not sure what that technical name is. What was new, particularly this trip, was the fact that there were so many coming up through that ramp and also coming from this side. We did venture down that side. There is a Border Patrol unmanned tower there. I'm not sure if that tower has an operable camera. I would assume so. Um, but that is where a lot of them are coming from. So that's one of the clips there. Just wanted to show you some of the crossings there. What we also noticed here, and you see this boat right here, we witnessed firsthand that some of these illegals coming over were dry as a bone. Um, would be hard pressed to say that these some of these illegals coming over weren't being picked up directly from the opposite side of the river in Mexico and delivered straight over to our side. There were some family units, or what appeared to be family units, and so I'm not sure how else to take that. Many of them, of course, as they coming over, it goes anywhere depending on the current of the river. It goes anywhere from, to your ankles in some spots and then gets very deep in other spots to at least waist high on a grown adult man. So there's no way that they could cross this river without needing to change afterwards into some dry clothes. But there were a handful of them that appeared to be dry as a bone and arrived on the boat themselves. So I will move on to the next clip here. Let's see here. The other next clip here that I'm hoping to figure out how to show you guys is the other apprehensions. It was a rather large group where a bus full, they literally, it was not a van, it was an entire bus. Um, and I think that this might be the same one that I just tried to show you guys. Sorry. And I have a reason for showing you guys all of this, I promise I do. Um, of what I'm trying to kind of paint the picture of, which is very concerning for me to me with why is there seemingly to be a seemingly notable decrease in law enforcement in this area with it being such a hot spot. Um, this is the same exact one. Let me find the exact one that I'm looking for, guys. Again, I am so sorry. I am doing the best that I absolutely can. Um, okay. Well, you know what? I'll just show you guys this. This was later on that evening, where I came across. We were trying to leave the Eagle Pass area, and the train had stopped. The train stopped, and for quite a while, we knew that something was going on. Um, Kind of drove around trying to find a way to exit the Eagle Pass area to get back to where I was staying. And what we saw was a group of illegals that were taken off of the train. There's a lot of news, a lot of articles that are done. If you follow the Border Patrol pages, you'll see a lot of them, especially in Laredo and in other areas. There was more recent ones in Uvalde, where these illegals are boarding these trains. That's not new. What I'm trying to highlight here is the fact that this is in the middle of the community. This is in the middle of, the Eagle Pass area. If I couldn't get through for quite some time because this train was stopped, neither could any of the residents that live there. They did actually end up physically arresting these people. What happened to them afterwards, I do not know. They did confiscate 2 rather large bags, but I just thought that after the long day of seeing so many apprehensions and crossers coming over, I thought that it was pretty, interesting that I would get the opportunity to see, this, happen, so clearly with what these people deal with on a constant basis, how their lives are constantly, interrupted. Um, it's just it blows my mind. And I hope that other Texans who don't necessarily have to deal with this because they don't live in the border areas, my hope is that they begin to realize and begin to understand how this is impacting our fellow Texans. Just because we don't live on the border, our fellow Texans do. This is their home. And it's absolutely just the fact that they have to live with this on a day-to-day basis, and if anything, right now it's become normalized. That's the thing. That's the scary part, is that a lot of this stuff has become absolutely, um, just normalized to the to the point where they become desensitized to it. They it's just overwhelming, and Okay, I cannot find the other video that I really wanted to show you guys because it was that massive crowd, but I'm sure that you guys can go back on my lives and see which one I'm talking about, where it was just this huge, this huge, massive crowd with the vast majority of them being grown men, um, that came straight out of from the right side. It was totally uh, I remember standing there, and in that moment, I'm thinking to myself, "Oh my gosh, I mean, if this is not what an invasion looks like," it was quite startling. So I will also, try to go back later on and find that for you guys so that you guys can see that. Um, Here is another video clip that I want to show you. The next night, we had gone out, spent all day that day. Um, Watching this 100 plus, come over, throughout the day, and just being taxied, quickly shuffled and taxied, into more than likely the local NGOs, which is where they're dropped off at. The vast majority of them were, of course, single men. There were some women, and there were a handful of small children in this crowd that we had seen. But later on that night, because there was such a decrease in law enforcement presence there, the National Guard, their usual post were moved. Um, Before, I kind of always knew where to expect to see them, in their Humvees, and of course some of the other empty Humvees. Um, but the National Guard were then pushed back towards the bush wall. The National Guard appeared to be being used as, bodyguards, if you will, or protection, not bodyguards, that's probably the wrong word. Protection for the Border Patrol as these, groups of illegals were being apprehended, and being put onto the buses. So we went back at night because I thought to myself, well, surely there's been a huge increase in the unaccompanied minors that were coming over in this area, which is a personal, concern of mine. And also, there's been a huge increase in the special interest aliens. We've talked about this before in other lives. There's been another huge increase in special interest aliens coming through in the Del Rio sector area as well. So I thought to myself, well, surely there would be law enforcement present at night. So we went that next night anticipating the day was a little bit warmer. So, I thought, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe there'll be some more border crossings that night, and let's see what the law enforcement presence looks like in this very accessible, very easy, very well known crossing area. And we had actually came across a group that when I first arrived, a small group had just been apprehended of about 5 or 6. Um, and they had just been picked up. Border Patrol came and picked them up. And so we thought that anything that was in this area would have w- would have been picked up. They would have been picked up already. So we didn't anticipate coming over, literally, quite literally stumbling across, um, a group of migrants, illegals that were hiding in the brush. This group th- could have and should have, if they were trying to be apprehended, they could have and should have been picked up with the group that had just been taxied away and ushered in right before. But this group, when we were going through, we were not going through the reeds. We were not going to go anywhere beyond that boat ramp. It was extremely dark. We wanted to be safe. However, we were looking to see, um, any signs of footprints on the other side of the concertina wire. And pretty much the people that I was with just about stepped on this individual right here. And I'm going to play this for you guys.
Well, you weren't too cold when you
See
were
if you
sitting
guys
out
can
there in
hear
the
it.
reeds. Well, you weren't too cold when you were sitting out there in the reeds.
So this gentleman right here was not very happy. As soon as he got out of the reeds, he was on a phone, um, did not want to get off the phone, did not want to follow directions and was the only one out of this group that was speaking. He claimed that they were all from Mexico. There was a group of females also that were found later on out of this group that came out. We had a very difficult time trying to track down any law enforcement and trying to get people back out there. Like I said, we weren't in search for them, where we weren't trying to track them down. That was not it. We did not anticipate stumbling across them. And so we had a very difficult time trying to actually find some law enforcement to finally come down and try to apprehend them. Border Patrol did come down eventually after a while with a small van, and were able to apprehend this group. You guys can also again go back to my lives and see that full exchange there with that situation. But again, what was startling that day and that time was the fact that there was we pulled up. This is in the middle of the night. This is in the area where unaccompanied minors are coming over in large numbers at this point. And I can show you guys some recent postings from Border Patrol um, of these young kids that are crossing the rivers by themselves, or they're crossing over with groups and they're being discarded, they're being left, they're being lost. Some of them, thank God, are being found by some of the law enforcement and Border Patrol in this area. But it blows my mind on where is the law enforcement? This is a known area. So I'm not saying that they're not there. What I am saying is that it was notably decreased. Maverick County was supposed to be starting up their elite brush teams, similar to what was going on in Kinney County, which they have been. DPS and their elite brush teams are the ones who have been extremely uh, useful. They have been doing an amazing job, and of course, Galveston County over there in Kinney County has also been helping out since last June. They've been doing an amazing job of finding people and getting people out of the brush. So it blows my mind, like why? I always ask the questions, why? Why is there not a more presence in this heavy crossing area? Now, I will say that it appears that a lot of the crossings that are currently going on in this area, in this Del Rio sector area, because of course the Del Rio sector goes from Del Rio to Eagle Pass and everything in between. Um, it seems like the vast majority of these crossings are coming through in the private properties, right? The private ranches, which is one of the things that we were discussing on the Mark Anderson show, Stop the Presses show, is that what we have seen and what we have encountered is that in the areas of, like, let's say Normandy in Quemazo, these are very rural areas. These are known hotspots. These are where these large groups of people are coming over. I have been there for months, traveling down there for months. I know several people there, including locals. And outside of 277, you would be very hard pressed to find any National Guard or any DPS on these rural highways, including the rural highway that a while back our vehicles were swarmed by five illegal alien men that came out of the brush. It was on 131, where they came out and swarmed, thinking that apparently we were their pickups. Um, Hardly any law enforcement at all stationed in these areas, and most certainly not any National Guard. People wanted to poke fun at Beto, okay? At Beto, however, Robert is really his name. Okay, let's keep it real. When he made the comment that some National Guard that he spoke to National Guard claim that they have seen no illegal activity, no illegal alien activity. And I'm here to say that, you know what? It's highly probable that those two people, he might be telling the truth, because unfortunately, it seems like the National Guard, and this is what it appears like, this is what it seems like, this is what I've experienced with my own two eyes in the time that I've been down there. They're along 277, which is a very public highway. It's a very used highway, um, scattered throughout this long highway. Um, that's not going to be where the vast majority of these people are. Okay. And if you go into the Normandy and Quemato area, you would be hard pressed to even see any DPS at all. And then it leads to the question of why. Why in a known hotspot where young children have been left for dead on ranchers' property, on farmers' property, the oldest of which I believe was like 9 years old, the youngest was an infant. Um, why would there not be? You claim that you're sending, our officials here in the state of Texas, our governor, claim that they're sending all of these resources to the border. W- Why would you not send it to the areas where they're most needed? And I'm going to get into a little bit of that, of why I think that might be here in just a little bit. So I want to show you guys in Eagle Pass. One of the things that positive things, I guess, that I did notice was that the Federales, which is the Mexican National Guard, has been making a known presence in the Eagle Pass area, in this area. When I say Eagle Pass, of course, Eagle Pass is a large area, and it has several several hot spots there. But along this particular area where the international bridges are, they have been making their presence known. I have seen them on both of these recent trips, and I'm about to show you here is where the federales, although we did not see any of our law enforcement and any badge on our side. Um, at this time, the federales over here, this is on the Mexico side, there was a group. There was two women, one which was notably pregnant, and several small children that appeared to be getting ready to cross. The federales pulled up in their trucks, and then proceeded to question this gentleman right here, who is more than likely the coyote. Okay, you will see that they ordered him to strip down, um, all the way down, and it looked like they did keep their boxers on. I will say that. So we're not going to get inappropriate here. But what you will see also is where they look like they are looking for markings. They're looking, if I had to assume here, and this is just an assumption, they were asking, it looks like they were looking for the markings of his tattoos, possibly to see his gang or cartel affiliations, because of course, a lot of them do use tattoos to brand themselves. So the Mexican federales, man, they don't mess around. They do not play around. And maybe that is one of the reasons why they feel comfortable with not having, with having a decreased, law enforcement presence in this area. Absolutely possible. Since the federales are doing a decent job, from what it appears like, they're doing a decent job of trying to keep, trafficking from happening on their side. When I turned over to the side there, that was a gill line that was placed. Of course, many of them try to put on the front like they are fishing. I personally would not eat anything coming out of that river, but that's just me. So, and then they go on up here. They're also speaking to the other gentleman who was the quote unquote fisher that threw that line out there. So I will say that if there is possibly a reason why maybe there is less law enforcement presence, that potentially would be why, but it still wouldn't explain why at night there would be nobody there unless they were called like we had to do. Um, all right. So now what I wanted to kind of highlight and show is a little bit of some photos of some of the things that I collected along the way, because apparently I like to, go through trash. I don't know what else to say. But just to kind of highlight some of the things that I've seen here, that I saw. Let's see here. I can. Again, I apologize. You guys know I'm trying to do this with one screen here, so it makes it kind of difficult. This right here is under the International Bridge. 1, 2. I'm losing my sense of direction here. This was obviously a wheelchair. We found several wet clothes, obviously indicating some recent crossings there. And clothes. It looks like this concertina wire is doing a really good job of being used as like a laundry line for some of these clothes to dry out there. Um, let's show you guys some of the other more important things here. I think many of you guys might find this interesting. Um, let's see here. We found vaccine passports. I found quite a few of them. The vaccine passports, however, and I'll show you guys the inside of it. The inside of it does have a legitimate doctor in Colombia with 2 booster shots listed on the inside. However, as you can see here, it's absolutely blank on the front to say who it belongs to. So there is a lot of that because, part of the MPP program, they're claiming that they, are doing the best that they can to ensure that these people are offered vaccines. Of course, we know that a lot of them are turning that down. And this is the inside of it. He's got 2 shots. My husband did do some research, and I apologize. I know it's kind of a glare there. I do the best I can, guys. But there's 2 shots there, and my husband did look into the doctor that signed these orders and or this vaccine card, and it apparently does lead to a legitimate doctor over there in Colombia. One of the other things that I hope that you guys get to see here is our tax dollars here hard at work, helping to provide information to those who are crossing over illegally who may be pregnant. There's a whole pamphlet on how they can care for themselves while they are migrating. That, of course, is the NGOs. Now, one of the other things that I thought was very interesting. Here's some. Well, hold on. One of the other things that I thought was very interesting was that I found some newer documents that I had not seen before. Um, and I want to highlight those, but I actually reached out to my brother from another mother, Anthony, and we're gonna hopefully do a live tomorrow about some of the other things that I found because I think it's gonna be. I have a feeling that it's gonna be some really good information coming out of that. Of course, you guys have probably seen a lot of my photos of some of the documents that are coming over from the INM. Again, that is the UN. That is the UN using our taxpayer dollars along in coordination with the NGOs, making it easy for these illegals to travel throughout Mexico from wherever they're coming. This person is from obviously from Nicaragua. We've all seen the QR codes. We've shown that. Typically, what you would see I want to show you guys typically what you would see with these QR codes. Typically, when you would see these QR codes, something like this is what would pull up. And let me highlight that for you guys. It would typically pull up a lot of information of the migrants themselves, photos, anything. So this way, if they lost these documents along the way, they could easily pull it up. They would have a digital record, if you will, um, that would be easily accessible for them. Okay. Okay, you know what? Apparently, I'm just supposed to show you guys this first. I'm so sorry. So this is when I talk about this is from the Border Patrol just recently, obviously on February 1st in the Del Rio sector. When we talk about the special interest aliens and aliens coming over from special interest countries. This is just in the Del Rio sector. When I spoke earlier, that obviously it is concern to me that why is there a decrease in law enforcement, seemingly what is a decrease in law enforcement presence when we have so many unaccompanied minors and so many special interest aliens coming over in this area. 15 subjects from Pakistan, Syria, People's Republic of China, I don't even know how to say that other one, Sudan, Takistan, and Uzbekistan. Between October 1st and December 31st, DRTA encountered subjects from 84 different countries. So again, in my head, it would make sense that there should be an increase in law enforcement, a notable increase of law enforcement in this area. Yeah, that's simply just not what I have seen these last two trips. Um, and again, if not even for that, why not for the children? That is extremely concerning to me. And obviously, the one that I just showed you guys, the QR code that I just showed you guys, that is like next level. Okay, that is uh, they took the time to make that like a hard copy. Like it's there's no water that's gonna get into that. That thing was laminated. This is typically what you would see with that QR code with what I just showed you guys from INM that makes it easy for them to cross over. This is typically what you guys would see. Typically, what you would see is a breakdown of who these people are with their information so that it would be easier for them to cross from state to state within Mexico. Okay. Um, and easier for them to just trek right on over. And these are the documents that they tend to obviously discard, either on the Mexican side or on the Texas side. Okay, this is typically what you would see. However, with that recent one that I just showed you, and there was a few of them that I have that are like hardcore laminated. They're not playing around. When you click on that, when you try to pull up that QR code, this is what you will now see. Todd Bensman went into talking about the ANT program and on how the Biden regime is now seemingly working in collaboration with the UN, with the NGOs, so that they are quietly sending over, just thousands and thousands of illegals under the radar. I'm hard pressed to believe that maybe that's the other reason why so many of them are also seemingly going to the more remote areas. Places like Eagle Pass, like the place that I typically go to, just about every reporter has been there. It's not anything new. So I think that they might be shifting and trying to move, maybe working in collaboration with the cartel, which again is not anything new. As you can see, this right here, basically, before I forget, um, this is what you're seeing. The QR codes are not pulling up. It seems like they are starting to, with these newer QR codes that the INM is providing them, it seems like they are disabling them. Um, One of the reasons why, of course, they end up discarding this information along with their IDs and their passports is because they believe that it would make it easier for them to then qualify for asylum. Because, of course, many of these do not qualify for asylum. So if they can falsify or come up with stories and there's no identification saying exactly where they're coming from, then it makes it easier for them they are being coached. And I will show you that they are being coached by these NGOs on how to essentially lie to the Border Patrol agents, so that this way they can stay here and wait for their notice to appear, which of course we know the vast majority of them do not appear. I am going to present to you proof and evidence of their coaching that I happened to stumble upon. And, little old me was so excited when I found something like this because it's one thing for people to say, like, we could say, we know that this is happening, we know that it's going on. But it's another thing to actually have hard evidence proof of it. And that is what I was just mostly excited about. So, right here, what you are seeing is a document which tells them um, how to speak to the border patrol agents, coaches them on what to say. Also has information, of course, for consulates for consulates in Mexico if they are from Guatemala and from various countries. I will show you guys the back portion of that. But this essentially just goes on to essentially do exactly that. Tell them coaches them on what to say, how to say it. Of course, Todd Bensman and I did talk about that previously, and I think I did also share that information. Um, Uncovered that the UN and the NGOs down there are in Mexico that he came across. He spoke directly to one of the gentlemen there that they're actively using money to trigger repressed memories for the migrants so that this way they can remember how they have been persecuted in their respective countries or where they're coming from in ways that this way they then would be able to potentially qualify for asylum when they arrive here in the United States. So this is some of the actual evidence. I'm going to show you guys the back portion of it here in just a second. And again, thank you guys so much for your patience. As I think I'm getting better at this, y'all. I think I'm getting a little bit better. It is time consuming, but I think I am getting a little bit better with learning how to get this stuff up on the screens for you and toggle and share the screens and stuff. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of credit. Not patting myself in the back, but it's progress. This is the back of that paper. And this is where it talks about, the consulate of Colombia, Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and so on and so forth. So that if they need resources and as they're traveling through Mexico, these are the areas that and the information so that this way they can get the aid and assistance that they need to be able to continue on their track and their ultimate goal of coming to most of them of the ultimate goal of coming here to the United States. So now what I wanted to continue on with here, I wanted to show you guys some of the things that I came across with the new concertina wire that has been put up. Let me put this up. And I don't think that this is going to come as a surprise to any of you. But again, I try to have evidence for everything that I say. This is one of the areas. And I know it's a little bit difficult to make out here, but basically this whole upper part, as you can see over here, it has the 2 rows of concertina wire. This whole first row right here has been completely pushed down. So that this way they can just walk right on over. And again, it makes for a great clothing line so that this way they can dry their clothes after they come up out of the river. And I did have another one. This one, of course, really got me, and I did use this as the picture for this video today because the concertina wire is extraordinarily sharp. You get tangled into that, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna cut you up, and to see a little kid's pajama bottom pants tangled up in that. I hope that it just shows the human aspect of it, of what is coming over. All right, now let's get to some of the other fun stuff, if you will. You know, you hear so much about the Haitians when we had the Haitians coming over, and people were asking, of course, like, well, how are there so many Haitians that are coming over this area? How are they getting from Haiti so quickly over here to the United States? Of course, a lot of us already knew that they have not lived in Haiti for quite some time. Well, here's your hard evidence. This is an ID that I picked up from Brazil, as you guys could see. This is an identification of basically of a foreigner. Okay, this is a female, and this shows that she entered into Brazil back in 2014. She's obviously from the Republic of Haiti. Nationality is Haitian. And this is what was laying on, and it was valid through 2026. She was a permanent uh, non-citizen of Brazil, a permanent foreigner of Brazil. And this is one of the things that we are also going to highlight. I will actually be going out of town tomorrow, and if Anthony and I do get a chance to go live, this is going to be one of the people that we're going to be focusing on, because I also have a lot other documents that I think is going to be pretty shocking, referring to this person. But this is the hard evidence. Here it is. There's our receipts. When we say that these Haitians have not lived in Haiti for several years, and that they've been living in Chile and in Brazil and in other countries for years, and they're coming over here trying to claim asylum um, because they are from Haiti. This is why they dump their IDs. They don't want people to know that they have been living comfortably in Brazil and in Chile and in other areas for years. In this person's case, since 2014. There's your hard evidence. There's your proof. Repudiate that, Biden regime, please. And again, that is one of the ones that we will be highlighting and bringing more information to light, hopefully tomorrow or the next day. So be looking out for a live from Anthony, and hopefully we'll be discussing more of that stuff. Okay, so some of the other things that I wanted to kind of just touch upon really briefly, some of the things that we talked about, that I talked about when I was a guest over there on the Stop the Presses, was the fact that, like, why is nothing being done? Right? We know that there's a problem. Why isn't law enforcement strategically placed? Why isn't National Guard strategically placed in these areas that it's sorely needed? Right? Why? So we all know that the Remain in Mexico policy, and I'm hoping to kind of connect some dots here. We all know that the Remain in Mexico policy, or the MPP policy, was supposed to be, we talked about this in one of the last lives, was supposed to be re-implemented. The Supreme Court ordered that it was going to be re-implemented, although it is far from the Remain in Mexico policy that President Trump had ordered that was effective. Okay. One of the new things to this new Remain in Mexico policy is the fact that the Biden regime entered in a caveat that if you are from the LGBT plus or LGBTQ plus community, that you should be allowed claims of asylum for sexual orientation discrimination. I don't want to. Sorry if I'm not using the correct terminology there, but I know that you guys know what I'm talking about. And what I'm going to, or know what I'm trying to reference to. What I'm going to show you guys here is a few of the articles from the left-leaning media. This is an article from Al Jazeera. Although they do, some halfway decent reporting from time to time. And this whole thing is talking about, let me scroll up here. This whole thing is talking about the Remain in Mexico 2.0. How did the Trump era policy get revived? Okay. This was back from January 7th, 2022. And one of the things that they did, that they attempted to implement, and that was successful in implementing, is this, and this is what I want to highlight, is again, asylum claims for LGBTQ plus plus plus. They requested that basically the policies of asylum include those who are particularly vulnerable populations, including people with mental and physical disabilities, the elderly, and those with illnesses in LGBTQ plus people to be exempt from the program, meaning exempt from the program of Remain in Mexico policy. Bear with me here. I want to try to connect these dots. Okay. Um, so that's one article right there. The next one that I want to show you guys is one from a very known left-leaning organization group here. Immigration equality. Boy, if that doesn't speak for itself. Press statement. This was back in December. So December 7th, 2021. Again, the Remain in Mexico policy was ordered by the Supreme Court to go back into effect, and it has been, but it's been extremely watered down, and a lot of things have changed. Not nearly as effective, and we presented the last live, as I presented the last live, it's not succinct, it's not cohesive messages, not cohesive orders from station to station. And in my opinion, and in the opinion of many others, Mayorkas and everyone else who is in charge, we believe that he should be impeached and investigated, or that he should at least step down because of his failures to uphold the duties that he sworn to do. So the LGBTQ community, they pushed to have this exemption to be made for them to qualify to stay here in the United States as they are awaiting their trials for asylum claims. And I want to point this highlighted part out to you. These programs severely compromise the health and safety of asylum seekers and seriously undermine their right to due process. We demand that the Biden administration immediately stop expelling LGBTQ and HIV positive asylum seekers under Title 42 and end MPP as soon as possible. That's what they are demanding. They want LGBTQ and HIV positive. It is their right, according to immigration equality, for them to stay and remain here in the United States while they await their trials that they more than likely will never show up for their claims of asylum. Okay. Stay with me. So I hope that I've painted that little picture there, and it has in fact that they are able to say that they can walk up and say, I am part of the LGBTQ community, and I am afraid of going back to Mexico because I am afraid of harm because of my chosen sexual orientation. That's all it takes. Okay. Now, when we ask why are the things that could be done not being done to secure our border? And why here in the state of Texas, when we have all three branches of government, we have a Republican as a governor, we have a Republican-led Senate, a Republican majority in the Senate, and a Republican majority in the House of Representatives. Why aren't our children protected from gender mutilation? And why isn't everything that could be done constitutionally and legally not being done? Now, this is kind of old news, but I don't think that this got enough attention. And I want to paint this picture because of what I just showed you guys. How the Remain in Mexico policy, as it currently stands, is making this exception for the LGBTQ community. Back in May 21st, 2021. It was uncovered that Governor Greg Abbott, Lieutenant Governor Patrick, and House Speaker Phelan received $250,000 plus from clinics that chemically castrates transgender kids. And we know that there's actually several other GOP groups and several other GOP representatives that also receive money from these clinics or from these organizations or from these law firms that that advocate for LGBTQ plus rights. Okay. Why do they not protect our children from gender mutilation? Well, follow the money. But I want to present something else to you. This right here, these clinics that they receive money from. And this is why one of the reasons why I say that this is all connected. This is this was reported back in 2017. The main clinic that also helps to fund Abbott, Patrick, Phelan, and several other GOP representatives is actually tied to a Texas border gender clinic that caters to illegal immigrants. This was reported back in 2017. So when you ask yourself questions like why, obviously they're not serious about closing the border. They could put these resources, they could put our guard and they could put our DPS agents in areas that they are actually needed, like the Normandy and Quemado area. We have over 1,250 square miles of border land in Texas. It is impossible. There's not enough manpower, but there could be money allocated for more cameras. There could be money allocated for sheriffs and police departments that are actually trying to do something, and they sorely need more resources like drones, which would be a game changer. We should be passing legislation. There should be a for special session. And once we are past this primaries, that is the next thing that once again I will be pushing for, and I hope you guys will be joining me in that fight. We're going to be flooding their offices once again, demanding for a for special session with border security on the call and with COVID mandates on the call. I don't want to go too much into it for fear, not fear, but trying to at least get this message out there, and I don't want Facebook to shut this live feed down. You cannot make this stuff up. And when we say that it is all connected, here you go. Just like the last live that I did about the Denton City Council, which just recently passed the ordinance allowing for non-citizens to run for local office, including school board. And there was not one person testifying in opposition because of it. We aren't paying enough attention. And when you ask why our children aren't being protected and why the border isn't closed, this is one of the reasons. That and the fact that you could go on to the house.gov website, the texashouse.gov website, go ahead and take a look at the bio of Speaker Phelan. You might notice a very famous NGO that he's involved with, Catholic Charities. And that's just the beginning. That's just the beginning. So what I want to, I guess, highlight now, I get so upset about this because I think one of the other things too that blows my mind is that there's not enough people who know about this. They don't realize it. Early voting has now started. It started on Monday. It runs through the 25th. And then March 1st is election day. We need to get strong conservative people in office. I'm presenting you with this information. If you know this information and you still willingly vote to have the same people put on the ballot for in November to represent us, and you think that that anything is going to change, I don't know what to say. That's barely scratching the surface, by the way. Okay. So the next thing that I kind of wanted to go into really quick, and I promise I'm not going to keep this going for much longer. We all know that one of the Oscar Blue, the situation that happened with Oscar Blue, who is a reporter with Border Network News and is also a reporter for Real America's Voice News, was held at gunpoint in Guatemala. He just did a live. I encourage you guys to go back there if you guys are interested and hear his story. He is in Mexico now. He had everything stolen from him. His partner, Anthony Aguero, who I always try to promote because they do amazing work. Him, Ben Berkwam, so many that are along there on the border trying to get the truth out, trying to expose what's really going on. While he was reporting on the migrant caravan, he was on top of the volcano and was attacked and held at gunpoint. Thankfully, he is now in Mexico, but he worked very hard for all of the things that were just stolen from him, not to include the emotional element to this. So Anthony did start promoting, and I did push that out there. There is a Give Send Go. I did add that Give Send Go information if you guys can find it in your heart to try to help repurchase some of this equipment that was stolen from Oscar while he was attacked out there. So that this way this is his job, and everything that he's worked so hard for, all of that equipment that allows him to get the truth out there to the American people and to the audiences worldwide. If you guys can find it in your heart to help support him and to help raise some money, I will send that Give Send Go again. I did also put it on my Facebook page, and again, it is also my website. But I want to highlight something there. The risk is real. There are a handful of people who are out there and are actively trying to do something. They're trying to bring the truth, and they risk their lives to do it. There are a handful of activists who are giving it their all. They are putting everything on the line. And then you have a handful of people. And this is where I wanted to just send a warning to you guys. Beware. Just be cautious. You have a handful of people who are not in it for the right reasons. You have a handful of people who are trying to monopolize off of this. You have a handful of people who have been given a platform and they deceive people. They tell people that they're doing something. They put on or try to put on huge events around the country, charge a lot of money. There are people who are trying to charge $2,500 to $3,000 for border tours. I have brought a few people down from North Texas. I have invited them to come along with me. Never once did I charge. Ever. Because I want people to see the truth. What I want you guys to start asking yourselves, there are people who claim that they are raising money trying to help a certain group of people that have that have been impacted. Ask them for the receipts. Ask them for the proof for the very people that they are claiming to help. Ask them. There are people who are going around claiming that they are rescuing sex trafficking victims. Sex trafficking victims. Everybody nowadays claims that they are doing the same thing that Victor Marx legitimately does. They wear a cowboy hat and they think that, they put on this bravado. They raise thousands of dollars doing so and then post lives of themselves showing on the great work that they have done, quote unquote, that they're trying to rescue people. Any legitimate person who would be doing something like that would not be posting a live. Would not be posting a live about it. And they most certainly would not be putting the victim at risk. by airing that information. And then you have legitimate people who have been doing this for years, who never get enough credit, like Oscar, like Anthony, like Ben Bergquam, and several others who are risking everything to bring you guys the truth in hopes that it makes a difference. I hope and I pray that everything that I've tried to do makes even the smallest difference. The point of Secure the Border is to try to bring awareness and to try to get people activated and engaged and to know how they can hold their elected officials accountable, to know how they can get active on their city and county levels, to elevate your voice, to help you guys get active and engaged and involved because we are losing our country. My word of warning is this: start asking hard questions. The people who you think might be doing the right thing, if all they ever do is show themselves and promote pointless events that amount to nothing but lining their pockets, I strongly encourage you to use discernment. Go out there and fight. If you're watching someone because they sound good, they make you feel good, like, yeah, at least somebody's out there doing the hard work, but you yourself are not doing anything to get involved, what is it accomplishing? Please get active, engaged, and involved. Use discernment and go out of your way to vet the very people who are claiming to do certain things. And then please go out there and support the true people, the true activist, the true journalist that are giving it their all and risking everything because we know what is at stake. There are human beings being exploited on all sides because of this crisis, because of this invasion. The illegals are being exploited. The children are being exploited. Texans and Americans are being lied to. They're being injured. And then you have those who want to monopolize and make a name for themselves out of this. They're not in it for the right reasons. So please, I pray that you use discernment and follow the true people and support the true people like Oscar. Help and support and rally around him. Thank you, Jesus, that he is safe. God is good. And for those who are in it for the wrong reasons, it will be exposed. But my word of caution, there's always going to be those types of people. Again, my word of caution is use discernment. There's too much at stake. We are losing our country. Children, while we speak right now, there are children who are being assaulted. We don't have time for these renegade pretend cowboys. We don't have time for these people who only care about themselves and lining their own pockets. We don't have time for people who try to use other people's stories and experiences and pass them off on their own. We don't have time for that. We have a country to save. So please go to the Give, Send, Go for Oscar if your heart feels so led to help him raise money to get back what was stolen from him. Look out for, we do have some upcoming, and I'm sorry for going my little rant there, but I felt like it's my responsibility to finally say something. I'm never going to try to do, I can't stay silent anymore. When I see people taking advantage of other people in other situations, that is doing absolutely nothing to save Texas, absolutely nothing to stop the exploitation of human beings, I will not stay silent anymore. And when everything is exposed, it will be exposed. And the good people will be left standing, and we will continue on this fight because that is what it's about trying to save this country and stop the exploitation of human beings. What a novel concept. I know. Anyways, sorry, rant over. I am hoping to have, I will have 2 upcoming interviews coming up within the next 2 weeks that I'm really excited about. I'll put out more information on that. I will also be hopefully going live here with Anthony tomorrow. Guys, look, tomorrow, the next day, look out for that. Hopefully that'll be some once I get some help in investigating some of the things that I've stumbled upon. I think that that might be some really crucial information. And so we will put that information out there. Visit the website. Of course, we do have still that petition that we are trying to gather signatures for, to try and call for the impeachment of Mayorkas. And hopefully, also, I will have some updated new action items for you guys with some of the upcoming interviews that we will be having soon. So I think that's just about everything. Let me check here really quick and see if there are any questions that any of you guys had. I don't know if you guys had any questions. If so, I want to make sure that I try and address them. Don't really see anything. Okay. If there are any questions, I apologize. I am not seeing it. But of course, if you guys have any questions, you feel free to reach out to me. And please help me grow this station. Please share this information. Share. I will change this to public, and also I will share that link as well to the YouTube. If you guys will subscribe to my YouTube, we'll have some hopefully exciting things. I've had some people reach out. They're going to help me get a little bit more fancy here because, of course, I am not a tech savvy person, but there are some amazing people who have offered to help me. And until that studio space has been built, and hopefully at some point soon, we will also be in the new studio space. I'm really excited about that. So that this way we can get this up and going. We have some exciting things coming up. So look out for the upcoming interviews that will be coming up. I'll be posting more information on that. Some upcoming action items that will be coming up. If you guys do find it in your heart, I have raised a little bit of money to be able to go back down there to La Jolla. I now have, hopefully, I know somebody is working on it for me to try to make it easier on my website to donate to me. $1 to $5, anything that would be amazing. That would be great. That would be so appreciated. We have a few different projects that I'll be working on coming up here, and it's going to involve a lot of travel. So gas money is sorely needed. But of course, the main thing right now, if you have anything to give at all, please also give it give it to Oscar, and let's get him, now that he's home safely, let's get him back to the equipment. No, let's get him better equipment that he had. So this way he can still continue doing the job, bringing the truth that so many people depend on. And get back out there and pray for him, pray for his family, pray for every single person who is involved in this, for Anthony, for Ben, for everyone. Pray for their safety. We are in a battle. This is a spiritual warfare that has bled over into the physical realm. The risks are real. And then take action. Take action. Get involved. Of course, if you have any questions for me, feel free to reach out to me. I'll do my best to try to answer it for you. Thank you guys so much. I know this went a little bit longer. Thank you guys so much for letting me rant just a little bit, and for listening to some of the updates that I was excited to give you guys about the last 2 trips to Eagle Pass. Any other updates, I will, come to you guys soon with. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for giving me your precious time. I hope everyone has a great night's rest. And let's continue to do all that we can to secure our border and to save our precious Texas. Thank you guys so much. God bless. And I will talk to you guys soon with some really exciting upcoming interviews. Thank you guys. Visit our website, securetheborder.us. Securetheborder.us. Thank you guys. Good night. Bye.